guys, welcome back to the studio. I know we might have singed some of our eyebrow hairs from the hook of the video, but as you can see, I have my good buddy Jack returning from Clone or Die, and of course we're going over the Ranger loadout as seen in the film Black Hawk Down, and of course based off the real mission Operation Gothic Serpent. So Jack, tell them a little bit about what you do, Clone or Die, so they kind of know a little more about you.
Yeah, so me and my buddy Clayton, we have a YouTube channel called Clone or Die where we kind of specialize in clone guns and equipment from all around the world, everything from the US military to foreign militaries. We pretty much, if a military or a police force used it somewhere, we like it, we're gonna build it, especially if it's weird.
Cool. And also, huge shout out to Delta Force for sponsoring this video. They made all the cool stuff in the beginning possible. Plus, I think we can both agree, we've been waiting for this update that just launched for this game. I mean, it's half the reason that we're even playing the game.
Yeah.
It's like, we love Black Hawk Down, and I think what's cool is that they basically somehow took the movie and turned it into a game. And when we say took the movie, like literally, like
one-to-one scenes from the movie in the game.
Cutscenes, dialogue, even some of the actors' faces, and it's really like playing the movie. And what's cool is actually, unlike the multiplayer, they actually built the campaign in Unreal Engine 5, so it looks amazing. It looks fantastic. The details on the weapons, the environments, the bad guys. I mean, it really feels like you just got dropped into a Ridley Scott movie, and you're finally getting to play it. And it's been 24 years since the movie came out. And we've seen those streets and the cities and everything over and over again, and so it's kind of surreal to be in the game looking at like a structure or a road that you've like seen in the movie like dozens of times.
It's kind of funny, like when I was playing the first mission and you come up on like the building with all the guys you have to arrest, me and my buddy even noticed, we looked outside and it has the white car with the tape on top of it, like the movie. And we're like, that's the car from the movie, where they come up and they go, oh yeah, this is the target building. It's outside the target building. So it's really just nice details like that.
What's cool is like there's 7 missions. I know you've like, I played all. You're really, so you beat it already. Okay, I'm still like working on it because it's a good challenge. And of course, like you said, there's definitely a couple really cool missions in there that like you're never gonna forget. I think one thing too that's cool is like we're huge into tactical shooters, so we like the challenge that the game presents. It's really designed for co-op gameplay, and so if you have a good bunch of guys and you know what you're doing, like group up in Discord, hit it together, you'll have a really awesome experience. And like it's not quite as run and gun as the multiplayer, so you have to like work as a team and think tactically. Like, give some of your thoughts on that too.
Yeah, it's definitely like the multiplayer is very fast-paced, and this is way more tactical, more slow-paced, more check your corners.
Methodical.
You have limited ammo, you have limited heals, which I like. It makes you think instead of just running out into the middle of the street and getting shot. So it's a really cool kind of like co-op tactical experience.
Yeah, and set in one of our favorite periods / films ever, which I think is really cool. So again, big shout out to those guys for supporting this channel and the video, and for giving us the opportunity to make some really cool content for you guys. So next, kind of comparing some of the gear. Of course, we know, like I mentioned before, the gear from the movie to the real battle was a little different. Of course, the game is more so based on the movie, and this is more so prevalent with like the Delta Force operators, right? But they literally copied what the guys wore in the movie. So if you're familiar with the movie, it's like one-to-one even with the equipment.
It looks great.
Now the Rangers, when they made the movie, the Rangers were actually done fairly well to the point where they were pretty dang one-to-one with what the real Rangers were wearing. So we're gonna kind of jump a little bit more into the weeds with the gear, starting with some of the weapons. So what kind of weapons we got here, Jack?
So I today have a 727 clone. This would have been the carbine that was used by the Rangers and by the Debgru operators that were there. Rangers, more NCOs, officers would have had that. Most Rangers would have had M16A2s, full 20-inch barrels like this. And now, not everybody had iron sights. Just like Delta, a lot of Rangers had aimpoint red dots as well. There were also ACOGs there. They were used as well. There's even one Delta guy who has an LVPO.
Oh, wow, like super early LPV.
Yeah, like a super early one of the old Leopold ones. Well, Delta would have had 1911s, and the SEALs would have had their SIG 226s. The Rangers, again, NCOs, medics, specialized roles would have had their Beretta M9s as their secondary. In the movie, you see like Colonel McKnight shooting it out of the Humvee, as well as his driver, Maddox, shooting their Berettas out of the Humvee, so that's there as well.
One kind of thing I think is really cool is that the 727 is technically a newer carbine than the 723 that a lot of the Delta Force operators were running. So, and because of in the movie, you really see M16s and a 733 Commando.
Yeah.
Which is their kind of take on, I guess, like an NCO/officer weapon, even though they really ran 727s.
I think they just wanted to separate the Rangers from the Delta guys a little bit more, so they gave them M16s, and that helps from a movie perspective. Okay, you have these two very different characters. Yeah, exactly.
But I think, like, too, as well as, like, I think in the game, a lot of the weapons are recreated fairly accurately too. As you got like the 723, which I remember even when it was in multiplayer, I was like, wow, someone actually put a 723 in the multiplayer, which is nice.
They got the 723 with the aimpoint 3000 on it, and the QXL, the Larry Vickers dive light. They have like the Shughart M14 with the aimpoint 3000 on it. You also can get the ACOG, the 3.5 times one with the fiber optic. That's actually the correct one for the battle. There is a photo of a Delta guy who has that ACOG on the carry handle of his gun. And you can even read on Trijiccon's website how
they talk about that.
The 3.5 by ACOG was first used by the Army in 1993. So that's probably one of the first uses of it.
It's like, I wonder where.
Yeah. And that's actually the correct one for the battle they have in the game. You can get that on the M16 as well as the M14 if you're playing the sniper class. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the weapon selection in the game is pretty cool. They kind of run the gambit. Now, when it comes to the gear, like we mentioned, the Rangers were done fairly accurately, both in the movie and, of course, by extension, the video game. All right, Jack, so tell us a little bit more about what you're actually wearing for the Ranger loadout.
Okay, so for the Ranger loadout, I've got a first generation RBA, or Ranger body armor. Front plate only, soft body armor underneath that for flak and pistol rounds. Front plate to stop your rifle rounds. Then I've got my just standard issue Alice gear on underneath it. They would have had the LC1 with the gray buckle.
Yeah.
I have the black buckle, the LC2 belt.
That's how you can differentiate.
Yeah. It's a little bit later, but it still works for Alice gear. I've got my Bianchi holster because I'm carrying a Beretta, again, as more of that specialized NCR officer role. Then just the canteen pouches and the butt pack. Basically a lot simpler, more standard issue than what Delta would have been wearing at the time.
And very iconic, like if you're seeing the movie, and of course now probably playing the game, is the cut in the plate. It's basically like a one-sided shooter's cut. If you were wrong-handed, you're just...
Yeah, you shoot right-handed with this on. You don't shoot left.
And one thing I think is cool is that, even since the battle in 1993, like, of course, like, equipment definitely evolved after that, but everything was foundationally, like, because of that experience and that being the biggest battle or gunfight that the Army had been in since Vietnam, everything after that, both the weapons and equipment and TTP, were kind of built around that. And what's kind of cool is, like, even though a lot changed from Mogadishu, at the same time, not as much changed. I mean, you still had, like, woodland body armor going into the GWAT. I mean, essentially, like, the guys looked like this, but you had a newer helmet, newer weapon, newer load-bearing equipment, but the silhouette was very similar.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
Very similar. Still the same camouflages, woodland body armors, DCU.
I personally love woodland and DCU combination-wise, but and like, what are some other cool, like, factoids or information, either particular to the time period, or to the movie, or for the loadout for the officer variant or whatnot?
There's a lot of small details that, like, people wouldn't think about necessarily, that the movie got pretty accurate, like the Rangers having their radios on their belts too. I don't have a radio on mine. With the little speaker mic they would have up here, they had the Motorola Sabres, and that's, like, accurately depicted in the movie. Again, the movie got the Rangers really good.
Well done.
I have a specially modified sling. This is also something I should have talked about. Forgot to.
Oh yeah.
So this is something that was done by, like, everyone. So what I have is a normal, like, USGI issued sling at the time.
Yeah, I know. It's like extended.
So what this is this is the Alice pack
Oh,
taken off. And because it has this quick adjuster on it, like our modern slings have. So guys figured out very early in the 70s when Alice gear started getting issues, if I take an extra Alice pack and I take one of the straps off, I can put it on my sling and I have got a quick adjust sling.
So that was kind of like the modern version of like a quick adjust.
Yes, this is where it comes from.
Yep. Yeah, versus like this is just the M16 with the standard GI sling on there. Like no quick adjustment. You pretty much set it and forget it, and what you got is what you got.
That's what you get. Yeah, exactly.
Literally. The loadout is pretty straightforward, especially when compared to the Delta kit. But I think you would agree. Like for a lot of us that grew up in there, whether it's the 90s or early 2000s, Black Hawk Down was one of those movies that just created a very iconic look. And I think it's honestly not that hard to recreate this kit. So I'll put links to where you can get some of the stuff below. There's Alice gear pretty much everywhere. There are a couple places guys custom make the RBA. There's actually a couple airsoft websites that actually like make this one. This one's a reproduction. Or if you're just straight up lucky enough to find one in the correct size, a real Ranger body armor like on eBay or something. But again, like that's going to be dependent on the condition, the size. What I typically see nowadays is the ones that you see out there like XL or large.
All those are the ones that didn't get used.
Yeah, and then all the mediums and smalls. Like I have one that's like a small or medium or whatever. But they pretty much all got swiped up, in the whole collector era. So harder to find, but there are replica options available if you want to recreate this kit. And of course, when it comes to the guns, if you're into real guns, it's pretty easy. Just get like an M16.
H&R makes it very easy.
H&R makes a bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah, whatever you want. I built these, but
yeah, and if you're in airsoft, a little bit slightly more limited, just because going with the times of like ebbs and flows of what's being manufactured. There are a couple companies that make stuff. You can always still get M16s, but like 727s and 723s are a little harder to come by. Like VFC,
you got to build them.
Yeah, you got to build them. You pretty much got to build them. But on the real steel side, you can pretty much just get the actual thing, which is really great. I think that's awesome. So, but yeah, without further ado, that's the loadout. That's a little bit of the history. And of course, again, like we said, if you kind of want to like live it a little bit and play with your friends, pick up the game, check it out, do some co-op missions. I personally love co-op missions. Like I think co-op is like one of my favorite ways to play any game, just because it kind of reminds you of like the golden era of gaming with your buddies and stuff. And there's honestly not that many co-op shooters anymore. No. It's either just straight online, which is great, but it's nothing like getting your buddies together and going through a mission, and now you can literally like play the movie, which is really cool. So again, big shout out to Delta Force for helping out with this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed the loadout. Be sure again to check out Clone or Die, because he's got not just this loadout, but a whole bunch of other loadouts. I think between you and I think we probably have some of the most loadouts in the state that we're in.
Yeah, I mean.
But he's got a lot of great stuff, and we're going to be producing some more stuff together. So be sure to check him out. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Hey, you there. Delta wants to wear Oakleys. That's their business. Okay? I ain't going to catch none of my Rangers on this here truck wearing those sunglasses. It's my safety, sir. I noticed you got a hot weapon there. Listen, nobody calls it Mogadishu. It's the Moog. And don't ask me how it is. Okay? I made coffee through Desert Storm. I made coffee through everything. I made coffee through the Moog. I've never been out. You're not gonna need that, man. We'll be back in 30 minutes. You taking your back plate out? That's an extra 12 pounds I don't need.